I'd like to thank all the people who are involved. As I say, I'm delighted to be here at this Centre of Excellence because it is a Centre of Excellence for everybody who uses its services, whether the services are used here in the centre or in the other places where you deliver the service. And I know you deliver a lot of family support programmes. We've many other agencies represented here this morning as well. We obviously have Start Strong, that's an umbrella group, and we have Kieran here with us, and she's been very involved in the development of this project because Start Strong has a 2020 strategy for children, and this is part of that strategy. We're hearing a lot about child protection this week. It's not easy being on the front line of delivery of services. You know, it's very demanding. The pressures that are on families these days are tough. The pressures that are on young children are tough because I think young children pick up the pressures and strains that their families are under with increased unemployment and financial challenges and mortgage challenges. All that plays out in a play school or preschool when you're giving services. So on to the report today, Start Strong. We talk a lot about involving children and listening to children, and we all know as parents and as people who work with children, sometimes it's easier said than done. We pay lip service to it a lot, but what's very clear is that if we want to give the best services to children and young people, we need to ask them what they think about the services that we're providing. There's three areas that the people who were involved in this, all of you were telling me about before I started to speak, and they were saying the really three key messages that come across from this report. First of all, children were very keen on outdoor play, with the kind of issues that have unfortunately been on the agenda in recent weeks and child protection issues. I think that's been harder and parents are more concerned. So what we have to do is make sure there's lots of outdoor play areas that are safe. The second point that they made was the children was about their family. It's not just about children being left in some facility. It's about ongoing contact with parents and making sure that everybody is open to being very inclusive. So that was the second thing. The third was about animals and how much children would like to have contact with animals, to see animals, to understand more about animals. And when one child was asked, who would you bring to this school? My chickens and baby and Saoirse and Jack and Julia and Mammy and Daddy. So everybody. So there's a lot of truths here, out of the mouth of babes. It certainly comes to mind as a phrase, and there's lots of other ones here as well that are very striking. And of course, it's a great question to ask anybody, any question that begins with if you could. And I think it's a great way to approach any problem you have, to begin by saying, well, don't give me the problems, but ask somebody, if you could do something about this, what would you do? And that's what you've done in this production. So really, I just want to say I'm delighted to be here in the week that's in it, and with the kind of very sad focus that we've had on how the church has failed children and how, children's lives have been put so off track by abuse, and when we've really had a huge national discussion about that. It's great to come and see the kind of positive work that is being done with young people, with families. I'm delighted to be here. Look forward to hearing more about the work as you develop the work here. I want to thank everybody who was involved in the production. If I had a magic wand, I want to pay particular tribute to Start Strong for the work that they do in highlighting how we can best serve Irish children.
It's very much a day of celebration. It's about celebrating the positive contribution that children can make and the positive impact that early care and education can have. And we were delighted, not just that a minister was able to launch If I Had a Magic Wand, but that it was a minister for children, because having a minister for children is so vitally important. We've seen it. We saw it very recently in terms of the publication of the Cloyne report, those very disturbing court cases that we're hearing about. We have seen how much we need that voice at the cabinet table for children, now more than ever. And the unfortunate reality is that when we're hearing that, we don't often hear about the other side of the coin, the positive stories about children being valued and cared for and their voices being heard. This book, If I Had a Magic Wand, it came about throughout our consultation last year. We felt when we were undertaking our consultation that fed into Children 2020, it was important that if we were saying the rights of children were important, that we needed to listen to children and to hear what they were saying. It's particularly important to recognise and thank the role that Bernardo's, the Border Counties Childcare Network and the Irish Preschool Play Association, the IPPA, would have played in this because they were the ones who facilitated that consultation in 39 different centres around the country, which meant that there were 600 children whose voices were listened to and heard. This wasn't a token consultation. This was very much that the ideas that children were bringing to us influenced our own thinking, influenced our own report, our Children 2020 report, which we used to lobby before the general election, and we'll be using some of the recommendations coming out of that. It's also important to note that an awful lot of the themes that the children brought up were echoed across the wider consultation. The language is different, but what is being said is very similar, and it's crucially important that we take that on board. One of the things, and the Minister referred to this, one of the things that really came across from the kids was the importance of being ambitious. Don't look at the problem. Look at where we want to go and then figure out how we get there. One of the kids put it much better, and I'm just going to use that same quote. I would change the whole island. I'd put the lights on in Ireland and it would be very nice and not dark. We need to have that light shining now, and we need those lights on everywhere across the country. Today, as I said, it's not about speeches, it's about imagining how things could be. I've heard the Minister speak today and previously about the changes that we need to bring about in Ireland. To help the Minister in making those changes, to reach those dreams, Evelyn and Callum have a present for her, and they're going to give the Minister a magic wand to help her in her work.